Discover how a kind CEO transformed the life of a blind girl kicked out by her stepdad in 30 days. Lily squeezed her eyes shut tighter. It didn't matter that they were already closed. The world was always dark for her, but now, it felt even more suffocating. She could hear the argument brewing in the living room, the voice of her stepfather, rough and cruel, cutting through the air like a knife. "You're a burden, Lily. This family can't afford you anymore." Those words echoed in her mind, piercing her like arrows. The front door slammed, shaking the walls, and she felt panic creep into her chest. "Mom! Please!" Lily cried, but her mom was out, working late again. The sting of loneliness mixed with fear had her breath hitching. Would she really be kicked out? Just a kid, abandoned like yesterday's trash. With each passing moment, despair clawed at her. But deep inside, a flicker of hope ignited. She'd face this. She always did. As darkness fell over her small rural town, Jack Henderson, the empathetic CEO of a tech startup, was driving home from a community outreach event. He'd been taught to give back. After all, success meant nothing without community. Passing by the park, he paused. Juggling inactivates baskets of freshly picked apples and rounding up children playing kickball, his heart lifted. Until he heard a soft but clear voice rise above the noise, "Mom." The desperation in that single word stopped him cold. He turned his car around, compelled by something he couldn't explain. It didn't take long for him to arrive at Lily's house. He knocked, and she timidly answered, confusion matching the pain in her voice. Jack's heart melted when he heard her story, how her stepfather had thrown her out while her mother worked tirelessly to make ends meet. The image of a child grappling with abandonment as the world outside continued to spin made his chest tighten. "Before we continue," he said, his voice gentle and compelling, "I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Jack looked into Lily's eyes, brimming with tears yet holding a spark of resilience. "I want to help," he said. "You deserve a chance to shine." And in that moment, an unexpected friendship began to blossom. As he mentored her, introducing her to technology that could open doors she never knew existed, they faced stares and whispers from the townsfolk. Some rallied behind their bond, but others scoffed, questioning Jack's sincerity. "You're wasting your time on a blind girl," they muttered, doubting his intentions. The tension increased when Jack's investors confronted him. "This isn't a charity," they said, their voices laced with judgment. It was one night, sitting across from them, that Jack realized he stood at a crossroads. Should he abandon this connection for profit or stand up for the values he believed in, driven by the hope and light he found in Lily? As he locked gazes with the investors, he felt the weight of his decision pressed down. This was more than just business, it was about pivotal moments that defined character. Would he let the fears of others dictate his path, or would he take a bold stand, risking everything for a girl who deserved more? The tension in the room escalated. Lily's trust in him loomed large. And just like that, the community was on the brink of change. Jack took a deep breath, the air thick with anticipation. He could feel the pulse in his throat, each heartbeat echoing the weight of his decision. The investors stared back at him, their expressions a mix of disbelief and impatience. "Is she worth it?" their eyes seemed to ask. "Lily is worth every effort I put in," Jack finally declared, his voice steady and unwavering. "It's not just about profits. It's about making a difference in someone else's life." The room fell into a heavy silence. Jack's resolve created a ripple, and for a moment, he believed he could change their hearts. Even the coldest of business minds could sometimes see the light. Meanwhile, Lily was fighting her own battles. In her small makeshift home, she had begun exploring the tools Jack provided. The inclusive technology he introduced transformed her world into something vibrant. She learned to navigate her surroundings with braille labels and smart gadgets that responded to her commands. Each step felt like a new adventure. Her confidence was blossoming, and she was ready to tackle life head-on. One afternoon, as she practiced typing on a special keyboard, the door creaked open. A familiar voice called out to her. "Hey, Lily. Are you ready?" It was Jack, a broad smile lighting his face. In his hands, he held a sleek laptop. "I thought we could work on something special today." "What is it?" she asked, her curiosity bubbling. "I want us to create a project together. Something that showcases your story, your voice," he said, excitement cracking through his calm demeanor. "Think of it as a way to inspire others." Her heart raced. "You mean people will hear my story?" "Yes." Jack nodded vigorously. "I want you to teach others about resilience, hope, and how technology can break barriers. Your words matter, Lily. You matter." Tears stung her eyes, but this time they were not from sadness. "Okay. Let us do it," she exclaimed, her voice bubbling over with enthusiasm. They spent hours crafting a narrative filled with challenges and triumphs. Each sentence Lily penned became a patchwork of emotions, fear turning into strength, darkness illuminating confidence. However, outside, whispers of disapproval simmered among those who knew Jack. A meeting flared with skepticism as more investors shared their doubts. "Do you really believe this will work?" one demanded, arms crossed, skeptical eyes boring into Jack. "You're risking the company's future on a project about a blind girl?" Jack clenched his jaw, determination hardening within him. "We're not just creating a project, we're building a community. People care about stories that resonate, and Lily's story is one that needs to be told." But as the days passed, he began to realize that not everyone had the same vision. Doubts began creeping into his mind. What if it failed? The economic stakes were high. What if they lost everything he had built? As Jack navigated these treacherous thoughts, he felt Lily's determination guiding him like a beacon through dark waters. Could he truly convince others to embrace a venture grounded in kindness? One chilly morning, as leaves crunched underfoot, Jack met Lily at the park. Her cheeks were flushed with excitement as she waved a stack of papers. "Jack! I've got it. I wrote a speech for the presentation." In that moment, he saw the budding speaker she was becoming. Fear and uncertainty bubbled beneath the surface as he imagined how much this meant to her. "Let us practice it right now," he said, his heart swelling with pride. As Lily spoke, her voice rang out with clarity and passion, echoing through the chilly air, drawing smiles from passers-by who paused to listen. Each word wove hope through the crowd, defying the doubt that plagued them, but just as she finished, a shadow crossed over them, a figure from the past. Lily's heart dropped as she recognized the familiar form of her stepfather standing at the edge of the park, eyes dark with malice. "What are you doing here?" she whispered, panic flooding her veins. The atmosphere shifted, mounting tension steeping like brewing storm clouds. Jack sensed the change. Instincts sharpening. He turned, instinctively shielding Lily with his own presence. What would happen next? The community had begun to rally, but would her past shatter her newfound hope? Lily's heart thundered as she faced the figure looming behind her. The sight of her stepfather sent ice coursing through her veins. She had spent years treading lightly around him, never knowing when his anger might come crashing down. But this time was different. She wasn't the same terrified girl he once tried to control. Jack stepped forward, placing himself firmly between Lily and the dark figure. "What do you want?" he demanded, his voice steadier than his racing heart. Her stepfather sneered, a cruel grin stretching across his face. "Oh, don't mind me. I just came to check on my little princess. Heard she has become quite the speaker, huh?" He looked at Lily with a mocking gaze, as if she were nothing more than a toy he could break with a flick of his wrist. "Leave her alone," Jack asserted, his voice strong and protective. He could feel Lily's anxiety like a palpable weight on his shoulders. Lily clenched her fists, drawing strength from Jack's bravery. She took a deep breath, trying to calm the storm inside her. "I'm not your princess anymore. I'm done being scared of you," she declared, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. Her stepfather's expression darkened. "You think you can escape me? You think you can just walk away from the life I gave you? You're just a blind girl, what do you know about the world?" A ripple of gasps emerged from the people nearby. Jack noticed that some were already reaching for their phones, capturing the scene, but he remained focused on Lily, urging her silently to stay strong. "More than you think," Lily replied, her voice rising, full of determination. "I have dreams now, and I won't let anyone stand in the way of them. Not you, not anyone." Jack felt a surge of pride wash over him. Even in this moment of fear, Lily was finding her voice her true power. "Enough." Her stepfather snapped, the dismissal dripping like venom. "You'll regret this. You don't know what you're messing with." He turned on his heel, but not before Jack caught a glimpse of something in his eyes: fear. As he left, the tension in the air shifted. Jack turned to Lily, his heart racing not just from the confrontation, but from how proud he was of her. "You were amazing," he said, his voice full of warmth. "You didn't let him win." Lily's breath hitched as tears filled her eyes, but they were tears of strength. "I couldn't have done it without you," she admitted softly, her voice trembling with emotion. They stood together, breathing in the moment, their bond crystallizing in the aftermath of fear. The crowd had been watching, their faces a mix of awe and support, and Lily could almost feel the shift as people began to rally behind her, but in that very moment, doubt crept back into Jack's mind. He had protected Lily from her stepfather, but what would happen when the investors learned of the confrontation? Would this show of strength turn against them? As they left the park, whispers of the encounter buzzed through the crowd, and a knot of anxiety tightened in Jack's stomach. His world had begun to change for the better, but would he have the strength to hold it together while the past loomed like a storm over Lily's future? Little did they know, the confrontation was only the beginning. As they prepared for the presentation that could change everything, shadows of doubt and fear began to curl around their plans. What unforeseen challenges awaited them now? Would Lily's courage be enough to overcome the demons of her past, or would they bring her down once more? Lily's heart raced in the aftermath of the confrontation. The buzz of the crowd faded into the background as she and Jack made their way across the park. It was as if the whole world had been silenced, leaving only the thudding of her heart and the quiet encouragement of Jack beside her. "Let us get out of here," Jack said, urging her toward the exit. The weight of the moment pressed down on them, but there was something liberating in the air, too. The adrenaline began to shift into a cautious hope. They emerged from the park and onto the street, blinking against the daylight. "Do you think they got it on video?" Lily asked, her voice quieter now that they were away from the crowd. The reality of what just happened was starting to sink in, but so was the thrill of her own voice being heard. "I'm sure some did," Jack replied, glancing over his shoulder as if expecting someone to chase them down. His protective instincts kicked in again, but it wasn't panic this time, it was determination. "Let them see it. You stood up for yourself, Lily." She smiled, a faint spark igniting within her. It was a small smile, but it felt monumental. "I can't believe I actually said that." "Of course you did. You're stronger than you realize. I mean, who else would stand up to that creep?" He shot her a grin, and she felt an immediate lightness in her chest. They reached Jack's car, parked a few blocks away. He opened the door for her, and when she climbed into the passenger seat, her heart swelled with gratitude. She had someone who believed in her. As they drove, a heavy silence settled in. Jack's demeanor shifted from support to worry. "You know what he said? About the life he gave you? That won't just go away. He's not going to stop, Lily." "Then I won't stop either," she replied fiercely, determination returning. "I've already started building my life, and no one will take that away from me." But what if he tries to come after you? What if he has connections? Jack's voice dropped, mired in concern. She turned to look at him, a steely resolve behind her gaze. Then we protect my dreams together. Whatever it takes. Jack nodded, but the worry didn't leave his face. The weight of responsibility loomed over him like a cloud. What if this makes it worse? The investors. Lily felt the pressure, too. She had worked so hard for this opportunity, and she couldn't bear the thought of losing it all. Still, she swallowed her fear and glanced out at the city flying by outside the window. If they see me as weak, then maybe I don't want that money after all. As they arrived at the office, the air between them was electric with uncertainty. They stepped inside the modern building, where bright lights illuminated their path. Jack stopped to glance at Lily, and she could see the resolve in his eyes. Ready for anything? The question hung between them, thick with hope and fear. This could change everything for both of them, the meeting with investors, the potential life they had always dreamed of. Let us do this, she replied, gripping his arm tightly, feeling the warmth and strength flow from him into her. But as they stepped into the sleek conference room, the looming fear and excitement mingled together. Little did they know, a surprise awaited them that would test not just their resolve, but the very foundations of what they had fought for. Would this be the moment that brought them closer to their dreams, or would it rip them apart? The conference room felt like an arena, its polished surface reflecting the anxious energy that buzzed around Lily. Jack's grip tightened on her arm, and for a moment, she felt like they were the only two people in the world. The investors sat at one end, their faces obscured by shadows and confidence, waiting for her to speak. Just remember, Jack whispered, leaning closer, you've got this. They're here for you. His encouraging words wrapped around her like a warm blanket, shielding her from the chill of doubt creeping in. Taking a deep breath, she stepped forward, her heels clicking against the floor, each sound echoing her resolve. Thank you all for coming, she began, trying to steady her voice. I'm excited to share what my team and I have been working on. As she looked up, she caught the attentive gaze of Jenna, the CEO of the investment firm. Jenna leaned forward, her expression warm but expectant. The connection startled Lily and ignited something within her, a flicker of the fire she had discovered in the park. Jack retreated to a corner, watching with a mixture of pride and concern. He had always been the one to protect her, but now it was her turn to take the reins. With each word, she painted the picture of her vision, the innovative ideas, the passion driving her work, the change she wanted to create. But just as she began to gain momentum, a voice cut through the room like a knife. Interesting pitch, interrupted Trevor, one of the investors notorious for his harsh critiques. But what makes you think you're ready to lead such a project? You've faced setbacks before. The air shifted, heavy with tension. Memorable faces echoed in her mind, her stepdad's sneer, the disbelief of naysayers. For a heartbeat, doubt threatened to wash over her. But then, she felt Jack's presence behind her. She straightened her spine, letting resolve surge back into her posture. I am ready, she insisted, her voice steady and unwavering. I've fought to build this life. If you want fearless, then you found it in me. What I faced only made me stronger. A murmur rippled through the room, the shift in the atmosphere palpable. It was as if they were absorbing her conviction. Jenna nodded, her eyes brightening with intrigue. But you need to consider safety, Trevor pushed, undeterred. What will you do when those old demons come back to haunt you? Investors get cold feet when they sense weakness. A wave of panic rose in her throat. Would they really turn away because of her past? Her heart pounded, but she tapped into her earlier courage. Then I'll confront those demons head-on, she replied, the fire in her stomach transforming into flames. Trust me, I'll never let them dictate my life again. As she spoke, she could see Jenna absorbing her words, a hint of admiration crossing her face. But Trevor wasn't finished. And how can we be sure you're a safe bet? We need guarantees. Let us find out together, Jack interjected, his voice a steady anchor. I believe in Lily and her vision. I won't let her face this alone. The room shifted again, the intensity of the moment palpable. Lily's heart swelled with gratitude. Jack was still right there, still fighting for her. But just then, the conference room's door swung open, cutting the tension with startling force. A familiar figure stepped in, her stepdad. His sudden appearance sent a jolt through Lily, her breath catching in her throat. Had his dark shadow followed her here? Her heart raced not just from anxiety but from something deeper, fear mixed with the adrenaline to defy him once more. What did he want now? Would he try to sabotage everything she fought for, right here in front of the investors? The stakes just got higher, and so did her determination. These next moments would define not only her future but the very essence of who she had fought relentlessly to become. The room froze at the sight of her stepdad, a figure she had long associated with disappointment and abandonment. His expression was a mix of arrogance and amusement, as if he was savoring every moment of her discomfort. Whispers stirred amongst the investors, faces shifting from curiosity to concern. "What an unexpected surprise," he said, a sly smile creeping across his lips. His voice dripped with condescension. "I didn't know you were still trying to play in the big leagues, Lily." Lily held her ground, though her heart felt like it was pounding against her ribcage. She took a deep breath, reminding herself of Jack's words. The warmth of his support lingered like a protective shield, urging her to stay strong. "Dad, I didn't expect to see you here," she replied, forcing her voice to maintain an even tone despite the fire of anger raging inside her. "But we're in the middle of something important. If you could wait outside, we all deserve to know what is going on, especially the people about to invest their money," he shot back, his icy gaze sweeping over the investors as if seeking their validation. "She's been in over her head before, and I wouldn't want anyone to get hurt by a poor choice." A flicker of doubt fluttered in her chest, but she quickly replaced it with determination. He didn't get to hijack her moment. "I appreciate your concern, but I can assure you, I've got this," she said firmly. "I'm ready to lead this project, and I won't let my past define my future." Trevor raised an eyebrow, glancing between her and her stepdad. "This is quite the family affair, isn't it?" Lily could feel the tension thickening the air, but instead of crumbling under it, she felt empowerment surge inside her. "It's not just family, it's about moving forward, about growth, and taking risks." She met her stepdad's gaze directly, refusing to back down. Would he dare to challenge her here? "I'm not the scared little girl you once knew. I'm a woman who knows what she wants and how to fight for it." The words felt like a battle cry. Jenna leaned forward, impressed. "That's the confidence we need in a leader. But how will you handle the pressures that come with it?" Lily seized the moment, a fire igniting within her. "I embraced the pressures. They've shaped me. My experiences didn't weaken me, they forged me into someone who will face any challenge head-on." Her stepdad scoffed, disbelief etched in his features. "You think these suits care about your little story? They want numbers and guarantees." "No," Jenna interjected, her voice steady as she sized up the situation. "We want vision and resilience. Two qualities I hear in Lily's voice." The investors, once hesitant, seemed to shift their focus back to Lily, intrigued again by her fiery spirit. Jack's unwavering support stood behind her, emanating strength. "What are you willing to risk for this opportunity, Lily?" Jenna asked, her eyes softening with interest. Lily hesitated, a flicker of uncertainty creeping back for a moment. Then she remembered the darkness she had crawled out from, the battles she had fought to be here, the lives she hoped to change. "Everything. I will risk everything to make this a success." Her stepdad's smirk faltered, replaced by something akin to unease. This wasn't the outcome he expected. She realized she was no longer the girl he could belittle. She was powerful, fierce, and ready to prove it. With a final glance at her stepdad, she squared her shoulders. "I'll take this opportunity and show you all I can achieve." Together, we can do amazing things. The silence that followed was electric, the moment pregnant with possibility. Lily locked eyes with Jack, whose smile spoke volumes, encouragement radiating from him, but just as victory seemed within reach, a voice broke through the silence from the back of the room, an unexpected challenger. I can't let this continue. All eyes turned to the source, and dread settled over Lily. Who else could throw a wrench in her fight? Would she stand tall against yet another wave of doubt, or would her past finally catch up with her? The answer hung in the air, captivating everyone in the room. As the unfamiliar voice resonated in the room, a heavy weight of uncertainty hung in the air, silencing the murmurs. Lily turned, her heart sinking as she met the gaze of a man she recognized from the news, a local entrepreneur named David Hawthorne, known for his fierce honesty and no-nonsense approach. He stepped forward, his confident strides echoing against the polished wooden floors. I'm sorry, but I cannot support a project led by someone with such a shaky foundation, he declared, his tone flat, devoid of any warmth. Lily's pulse quickened, but she refused to let his words pierce through her armor. My foundation may not be traditional, but it has depth. She took a steadying breath, channeling her resolve as she faced him. I'm showing you that it's possible to rise above, no matter where you start. David's expression remained skeptical, but behind him, she could see Jenna shift slightly, intrigued. You want to challenge that which you don't understand. But I'm standing here to prove there's strength born from adversity. Strength is one thing, but can it deliver results? David countered, his uncertainty now buried beneath a layer of defiance. You'll need more than just a story to convince these investors. You need data, projections, stability. Lily. Jenna's voice sliced through the tension. What's your strategy? We want to hear your plan, not just your journey. Lily's defenses surged, shredding the doubt that crept around her ankles. I'm developing a community-based funding model that turns traditional business practices on their head. The story is a crucial part of it because it connects us all on a human level to our community. For a moment, she noticed Trevor leaning forward, clearly intrigued. His curiosity seemed like a lifeline, and she grasped it. People want to invest in more than numbers, they want to invest in meaningful change. My project is an embodiment of that change. Jack's eyes sparkled with pride, encouraging her to keep going, and she felt bolstered by his unwavering support. Investors today care about impact, she added, her voice growing stronger. Together, we can create a ripple effect, not just wealth for ourselves, but real transformations for others. The real return is giving hope and opportunity, reshaping futures. David narrowed his eyes, seemingly caught off guard by her passion. She could feel the eyes of the crowd starting to shift toward her, their intrigue blossoming like flowers in spring sunlight. But he wasn't going to back down that easily. Hope is great, but hope alone can't pay the bills. What are your numbers? Just as she was about to respond, her stepdad interrupted, his smirk resurfacing like a bad memory. You think she can handle the real world? She's just a little girl in a woman's body. Anger ignited within her again, fueling her resolve. I'm not a child, she snapped, spinning on him. I've fought for everything I have. You abandoned me when I needed you the most, and now I'm here showing I can stand on my own. If I can rise from that darkness, then I can do anything. The room erupted in whispers, the investors now fixated on the brewing storm. Lily could feel the tide shifting. This was her moment. She turned back to David, fixing him with a fierce stare. Numbers can be built. Trust can be created. I invite you to join me on this journey, to see what happens when we prioritize people over profits. Silence enveloped the room as her words resonated, leaving a palpable mixture of tension and anticipation. Lily, Jack said softly beside her, his voice warm but urging. Are you ready for this? Just then, a loud crash echoed from the hallway, the door swinging open to reveal an unexpected newcomer. All heads turned, and in that moment of distraction, doubt seeped back into her heart. What now? Who was this new arrival, and could they potentially upend everything she had worked so hard to achieve? Lily's heart raced as she prepared to confront yet another challenge. Lily's breath caught in her throat as the figure stepped into the room, the sunlight casting a halo around them. It was a young woman, her long hair cascading over one shoulder, wearing a bright yellow blouse that seemed to vibrate against the muted colors of the room. The audacity of her smile cut through the tension like a knife. "Sorry I'm late. Traffic was a nightmare," the woman called, her voice cheerful and confident, drawing the attention away from Lily's moment of tumult. She scanned the crowd until her eyes locked onto Lily's. "You must be Lily. I'm Maya. I heard about your project, and honestly, I couldn't miss this." The unexpected warmth in Maya's gaze felt like a breath of fresh air, but doubt clawed back at Lily. Who was this woman, and what did she want? The room seemed to shift gears, hesitation replacing the engaging energy that had just filled the space. We were in the middle of a discussion," David began, his voice laced with irritation, but Lily sensed a flicker of curiosity in him. Maya waved her hand, brushing off David's comment. "I know that, but I read your proposal and I'm intrigued. A community-based funding model? That's revolutionary. I just had to come speak to you, maybe get involved." Lily blinked, her mind racing. Get involved? Was this a sign? Or just another distraction meant to derail her moment? "Everyone, Maya works with several community projects. She understands the importance of connection in business," Jenna chimed in, her excitement evident. "You should listen to her." Before grabbing onto the lifeline being tossed her way, Lily had to regain control. "So, what is it you want from this?" she asked, more forcefully than she intended. Maya stepped closer, her expression earnest. "I want to help bridge the gap. I've seen how tough it can be to get funding for meaningful projects. We need more compassion in our business dealings. I'm here to help you shine a light on that." Lily felt a swell of hope. Could this be exactly what she needed to push through doubt and skepticism? She glanced at David, whose skepticism was still etched across his face, but his posture had softened ever so slightly. "I appreciate that, really," Lily said, her voice trembling with the weight of what was suddenly on her shoulders. "But I need to make sure everyone's on board. This isn't just about stories, it's about real data, and real impact." Maya nodded, her smile unwavering. "Let us do this together. People want to invest in change. If we collect stories, collect data, show the impact in a tangible way, we can shift minds and open wallets." The crowd had shifted again, now leaning in, some scribbling hurried notes. She could sense a current of excitement rippling through them. Lily's heart raced. "And what if you don't have the data?" David challenged, crossing his arms, still skeptical. Maya flashed a look that felt like the dawn breaking through a long, cold night. "Then we create it. This is about collaboration. We can gather stories, testimonials, we build a picture together." The room buzzed with energy. Jack looked at Lily, pride and admiration shining in his eyes. This could really work. "Lily, what do you think?" Jenna pressed, anticipation hanging like a thin thread. Could she really do this? With her stepdad's words still echoing in her mind, she felt feverish doubt clawing at her. But as she met Maya's unwavering gaze, something deep within her ignited. Maybe she could take this leap. "Okay," she started, her voice steadier now, "let us do it. Let us work together." Cheers erupted around her, filling the room with a warmth that felt like home. But just as Lily began to imagine the possibilities ahead, a foreboding thought nagged at her. Would her stepdad's words come back to haunt her? Would they be enough to push her off this newfound path? As she clung to the flicker of hope in her chest, the question loomed large: would she take control of her destiny, or would fear drive her back into the shadows? The room felt electric. Conversations bloomed around Lily like flowers bursting open at the first hint of spring. Maya's enthusiasm seemed to lift the weight of self-doubt, but Lily could still feel a chill wrapping around her heart. Everyone was ready to embrace this new momentum, everyone but her. "We'll start by mapping out the community needs," Maya suggested, stepping further into the circle, her voice ringing with authority. "Let us get insights, gather data, and build that emotional appeal." Lily nodded slowly, her mind racing. It was a theoretical leap she had dreamed about for years, but theory held less power when faced with reality. Would these plans hold when the pressure was on? She could feel David's gaze weighing on her, his skepticism momentarily set aside. "What do you think, Lily?" he asked, clearly testing her resolve. "Can you really pull this off?" Caught between confidence and imposter syndrome, she felt her throat tighten again. "The stories, they need to resonate," she finally replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "Exactly." Maya's eyes sparkled with enthusiasm, as if they were unlocking a door to possibilities together. "Connecting people to those stories is what will make this project powerful. And we'll stand behind you every step of the way." Over the next few days, fueled by the enthusiasm and support from Maya and the team, Lily found herself swimming in an ocean of excitement. They met daily, brainstorming, sharing ideas, and crafting plans. Workshop invitations flew out like seeds into the wind, hoping to grow vibrant connections throughout the community. Even her stepdad's voice began to fade, though occasionally, it clawed back into her thoughts. "You won't succeed, Lily." Each echo felt heavier, a reminder of the fear that had kept her confined for so long. One evening, as they worked late surrounded by mountains of data and heartfelt stories, Jack pulled her aside. "You're doing something extraordinary, you know," he said, his sincerity illuminating the dim room. "I see how hard you're working, how much you care. You're not just a voice here, you're creating change." Lily felt a flush of warmth spread through her. "But what if I fail? What if this doesn't work?" The words spilled out before she could hold them back, fear slamming the hope like a shadow at dusk. Jack shrugged, leaning casually against the doorjamb. "What if you don't?" Those words settled into her like a heavy anchor, forcing her to confront their weight. What if she didn't? The thought bounced around her mind until every echo began to fade, replaced by renewed spirit. Days turned into evenings filled with strategizing and laughter. The community responded with enthusiasm, stories pouring in from every corner, each one heartfelt, each one a thread weaving them together. They were all in this together, fueled by a mutual desire to uplift. Then, just as everything seemed to calm into a steady rhythm, an email lit up Lily's phone. The subject line sent a ripple of dread down her spine: "Funding denied." Heart racing, she opened it. The message spelled out the harsh reality of denial. An icy chill crept back in as uncertainty gnawed at her gut. Would this pull the rug out from under everything they had built? Maya glanced over, immediately sensing the dip in Lily's energy. "What is it?" Lily glanced around the room at the faces of her newfound friends, their trust like fresh blooms in spring. "We just lost our first funding opportunity." The room stilled, the warmth dissipating in an instant. But Maya's gaze held steady, unwavering. "Let us turn this into fuel, Lily. Every setback is a chance to rise. We'll find another way." In that moment, Lily's heart flickered between despair and determination. Would this be the moment she stumbled or the moment she soared? As she gathered her courage to reply, another thought encroached: what if this setback became a stepping stone, not a wall? The room buzzed with anticipation, the turning point was at hand. Would she rise to meet the challenge, or would that chilling fear chain her once more? The sun streamed through the conference room windows, illuminating the space filled with anticipation and slightly anxious laughter. Lily sat at the head of the table, her heart pounding in rhythm with the lively chatter around her. This was the day. The day her project would take flight or falter. "Are you ready, Lily?" Jack's voice was steady, reassuring. He stood next to her, his presence a solid anchor amidst her swirling thoughts. "Kind of," she admitted, swallowing hard. "I just can't stop thinking about what David said." Forget the doubters, he urged, his voice dripping with confidence. This is your moment. Focus on what you can control. Lily took a deep breath, closing her eyes for a brief second. She thought of all the stories, the community that rallied around her. The words of her stepfather lingered, but they no longer defined her. She knew now that she was not the frightened girl he had once belittled. You're right, she replied, steeling herself. Let us do this. The clock ticked down to the hour, and one by one, the investors filed into the room. The murmurs quickly faded as Jenna stepped up and welcomed everyone. Today, we're presenting a vision for change, she began, her tone inviting as she indicated Lily to join her. Thank you all for being here, Lily's voice echoed, brave yet vulnerable. My name is Lily, and I'm beyond excited to share my project. She felt Jack's supportive gaze, and it ignited a fire deep within her. She detailed her vision, a community-centered funding model that would empower the unheard, sharing vivid anecdotes from the stories collected. As she spoke, passion flowed through her, growing with every nod from the investors. We've seen time and again how powerful communities can be, and we believe we can harness that potential, she said, her voice soaring. We've gathered stories of struggle, resilience, and hope, each one a testament to the transformative power of belief. Jack shot her a proud smile as she pointed to a data chart that illustrated just how impactful community sentiment could translate into support. Imagine investing not just in a project, but in dreams that elevate lives. Together, we can create a ripple effect that reaches far beyond us. Just as she built momentum, she locked eyes with David, still skeptical, but something in his gaze hinted at curiosity. Do you really believe these stories equate to financial security? He finally challenged, his tone now cautiously open. Lily steadied her breath. I believe they equate to something deeper: trust. When communities feel valued and heard, they invest in each other. That's the foundation for sustainable growth. Heads began nodding. The atmosphere shifted, investors murmuring amongst themselves, acknowledging the depth of her conviction. Then a voice cut through, sharper and colder. This is audacious, but will it sustain? It was her stepfather, having slipped in unnoticed. Faces turned, surprised at his presence, but Lily felt a surge of strength. I've faced worse, she replied with fierce determination. Each step I've taken is a testament to my journey and to those who stand beside me, those whose stories I carry. That alone makes me stronger than yesterday. The investors watched, rapt. Jack whispered, You've got this. She took a deep breath and continued, This isn't just about profits. It's about breaking barriers, creating pathways where there were none. The final moments felt charged with energy. As she articulated her closing thoughts, she could see a spark igniting in their eyes. Jenna turned to the gathered audience. Are we ready to embrace a new philosophy, to uplift voices and build something meaningful? A wave of affirmations rippled back. The energy in the room was electric. Lily felt a familiar warmth wash over her, igniting a sense of belonging she had craved. Then came the pivotal question. What are our next steps? Lily's heart soared, they wanted to move forward. As dialogue swirled, she stood beside Jack, their hands brushing together briefly, a tiny anchor in a vast, thrilling sea. For the first time, she felt grounded. Not just in hope, but in action. As the meeting concluded with applause, an overwhelming feeling surged through Lily, her spirit radiating confidence. She had shared her heart, faced her past, and reclaimed her identity. In that moment, she was not just a blind girl, but a force of change, the architect of a future woven with stories of strength and community. She knew challenges lay ahead, but she also knew she would meet each one with an open heart, alongside her support network. Together, they were unstoppable. Jack! She exclaimed as they stepped outside, pulses racing from the adrenaline. We did it! Yes, we did! He radiated joy, pulling her into a hug. She relished the moment, releasing all the weight that had pressed down on her. She was free. Today marked the beginning of something beautiful, and just when she thought life couldn't get better, her phone beeped an email notification. She opened it with bated breath. A new funding opportunity from a local foundation appeared. They were on board and wanted to support her vision. Lily's heart leaped. She turned to Jack, hugged him tight, and shouted, "This is just the beginning." They stood together, basking in the warmth of new possibilities, a community that was finally investing in real change. It wasn't just her success. It was the light of hope sparkled through every connection made along the way. Finally, she felt whole. Don't let today end without making an impact. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss out on more exclusive stories like this one. Leave a like now to fuel the algorithm's fire. Comment your reactions and feelings about this incredible ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. True fans know the path to change starts with action. Don't wait not even one more second to share.